I'm so excited for this. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my transition from the Android Huawei phone that I had to the iPhone. Now, I'm filming on my iPhone, so that's why I didn't pick it up. So this is basically just my experience on converting from Android. I've literally used Android my entire life, and now I'm on to iOS, so how that is. Also, before we get started, I just want to say it's that part of year right now where it is freezing cold and I just want to wear comfy clothes. So I'm currently in like my Harry Potter fleece set and it's just nice and cozy. So before anyone comments on that, just putting it out there. So to be quite honest, the driving force for me getting a new phone was because I was running out of storage. I only had 32 GB on my old one and the camera quality really sucked on my old phone. I had to use my mom's at times and I really wanted to upgrade my camera because I really seriously wanted to start making videos and stuff. And obviously the hype about, oh my god, the Apple phone has amazing camera quality and blah blah blah, and I watched so many reviews and that kind of drove me to buy an iOS. Also because it's the first time I was like, okay, might as well, like, you know, it's good for change and for the experience or whatever. So this video is basically what I experienced and changes that you will experience if you go from Android to iOS, and honest opinions on both. So the first one is we're gonna start with unlocking your phone. So on my Android phone, I was used to either the patterns, you know, when you have like the grid and then you do a pattern to basically unlock your phone. And my phone had a fingerprint thing, which you just hold it and my finger would go on and it would unlock. And I actually found that much easier. My phone currently, the iOS one that I'm using, it has face recognition, which I think is excellent because you pick it up and like it recognizes your face 95% of the time. Then the occasional, oh, face not recognized, blah blah blah. But if it does recognize your face, then you literally just swipe and you enter. This is annoying in public because everyone's wearing masks now, so if I'm on campus and I just want to check my phone to see where I'm going on campus, because our campus is so huge, I either have to take my mask off every single time to unlock my phone or painstakingly put in my 6-digit code, which is a bit annoying to me, but that is how the unlocking is different on the Android and the iOS. And now we're going to talk about pre-installed apps. So the fun thing that I love about the iOS is that you can delete pre-installed apps, and I'm like, thank you. It gives me space on the phone, because on Android phones I've noticed you can't uninstall pre-installed apps. Like if you have a certain set of apps, even if you're never going to touch them the whole time you use the phone, they're still going to be there, unfortunately, and they hog up so much space, it's annoying. But here I've actually uninstalled quite a few pre-installed apps, mainly because I just don't need them. You know, it just gives you space. Also, the notification bar on the Android, you're used to just like swiping down and you see all your notifications. And on the iOS, I think the notifications are a bit prettier. You know, the typical, they pop up and you just get this nice clear kind of glass thing. It's nice. And I was kind of genuinely confused on the iOS because the phone has two different kind of notifications. So if you swipe from the right, you're gonna get a different set of like pings, and if you swipe from the left, you're gonna get a different set of pings. So that took me a while to kind of realize. I just think the iOS ones are prettier, if that makes sense, but like it doesn't really matter. So it's a matter of taste at the end of the day. Also, something that took me quite a bit of getting used to, on my Android phone, I was so used to having like a home button and a back button, and over here there is no button on the screen. I was like, how the hell do I go back? And after a bit of trial and error, it turns out that you have to swipe to go back, or, you know, go to your task manager, you swipe up, and then to go back, you just continuously swipe right. Like every time you swipe right, you're gonna go back. I mean, I think a back button makes it easier, and no one like described this beforehand, so it was kind of like a figure it out kind of thing. But I mean, figure that out. Next, the speed. I don't know if this is just specific to the iPhone 11. I don't know if it's a representative of all iOS devices, but I just think the speed is genuinely pretty fast compared to my Android, which would lag so much. But that's also because my Android wasn't great. So yeah, the speed, like, it is quite noticeable. It's an obvious jump from what I was using to what I have now, and I'm not complaining. The next thing is music, which I think is such an important part of everyone's lives. So in Android, like, I had a typical music experience. There's nothing bad about it. And I remember when I started listening to music on this, the speakers are so loud, it's not even funny. The first time I actually listened to the speakers on this was when I was playing Among Us. And you know when the game starts, it's like, dun, horrible impression, but you get the idea. I genuinely thought that my JBL speaker was playing because I literally looked around and I was like, how? Because it doesn't feel like it's coming from one direction. It feels like the whole area is surrounded with sound, if that makes sense. It gives you more dimensional sound thing. I don't know how they do it, but it's a pretty cool feature. So definitely for the speakers, they're so loud, it's ridiculous, but I'm not complaining, it's amazing. And also when you're on Instagram, something I noticed on Android, if you're watching a story or a post, your music is gonna get interrupted. But on iOS, the music doesn't get interrupted, like it continues in the background, and I'm very appreciative of that. Also, a little bit of a minor thing for me, because I always use, you know, things like YouTube. I was so used to using Google Chrome, and I think Google is obviously an Android-based kind of company in the sense that it's more favorable to Android, and iOS obviously kind of wants its users to use iOS apps. Fun fact, I was actually so surprised that the iPhone did not come with YouTube or Gmail and all the typical apps that Android phones come with. I had to install them on my own. And I feel like the user experience of the Google apps is very different on the iOS. I feel like it's a degraded version of what I was used to on the Android. And I think that's because they want to drive users to using iOS apps and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you should at least keep the user experience the same. On Android, YouTube is a beautiful, beautiful app. And even YouTube Studio, it's such an easy to use, gorgeously presented aesthetic thing. And then on the iPhone, YouTube Studio is weird. Like, it's not as accessible and easy to use because even though the format is the same, the graphs are ugly. I don't know how they went from pointed parts to like block graphs, which is so weird to represent like your statistics on YouTube. And then YouTube, the app as a whole, I feel like I'm using the not upgraded version of YouTube because of the way the buttons are. Just the user interface is different to what it was on the Android, and that's something I kind of miss. Also, I was never used to Safari, obviously, and that's the search engine that iOS has as its staple search engine. So I installed Google Chrome, expecting it to work because I love having loads of tabs open. Safari is a bit difficult to have so many tabs open, and it's just a pain because every time you open a new tab, it takes you to the new tab. So if I have to open 10 tabs in a go, it's gonna take me 10 times out and then I have to go back in 10 times. It's annoying. Anyway, so Google Chrome, the experience is so much different on the iOS that I just rather use Safari. And I hate the divide and the Cold War that it creates between two types of consumers. But I mean, whatever, the Google apps are pretty different. The free subscription, now this is something that I want to highlight. I didn't know this was gonna happen. So I got the iPhone and I didn't know that they were gonna have Apple Music and Apple TV included with the purchase. So I got an email saying, oh yeah, welcome, thank you for buying an iPhone, once you make like an Apple ID and everything. And I got an annual subscription for Apple TV, like for 12 months, and I was like, whoa, I haven't used it yet, but I probably will over Christmas. And then Apple Music, you get a 3 months free trial. So shout out to Apple for doing that, because that is pretty cool. Also, talking about Apple ID, noticeable thing that I noticed between security. You're familiar with this, that if someone logs into your Google account, it's going to send you an email that, oh, someone accessed your account, please check if this activity was you or whatever. And I think I logged in on my Apple ID on my Android phone because I wanted to just transfer something or something to do with that. But my Apple ID was now used on my iOS as well as my Android. And the minute I logged in on my Android, I got this ping on my iPhone saying that, do we allow this person to go forward? Like, if I wouldn't have said yes on this, that person would not have been able to like do anything. I'm just saying that I feel like Apple ID has a more real-time security thing that in the moment, like, you decide, like, if you would have said no, that person would have been denied access. It's a very secure thing, I think, compared to what Google is. But now I'm not comparing iOS and Google, I'm comparing iOS and Android. So, but I'm just saying that Apple has that kind of extra security layer. Now, everyone I know has an Android phone. So I've been around quite a few Android cameras, but I'm gonna say that the iOS camera, the one that I'm using right now, it truly does beat every Android phone that I've seen. I might have seen only one or two that are like close to this level, but I totally understand the whole hype about the camera because it genuinely is really good, like fantastic. I was so surprised when I opened the camera and I was like, damn, this is so good. And I truly do think it's an excellent camera for a smartphone to have. It's not the best at nighttime, but apart from that, just the colors, and I've gone on loads of walks, and even the pictures of the sky, which Android phones are usually not able to do justice to. This phone does do justice to, even though obviously it's not as good as what we see through our actual eyes. Sometimes I wish we could capture it with our eyes. I totally agree with the whole camera hype. I would say iOS definitely for a camera. All the iPhones really, they've all had really good cameras, I hear. So that is that. And now just the last little thing that I'm gonna mention. Typing aspect is a bit different. So on my Android phone, I was so used to having the comma on the same keyboard. I didn't have to change the, like, you know, the different layers that there are. So the first layer of the keyboard would be what you're typing. And then if you want to have some special characters, you'd have to press a certain thing, which would go on to like the second layer. So on Android, all of that would be on the first, so my comma. And autocorrect worked fantastically on Android. Like, I could not type for the life of me. I spelled everything wrong, but autocorrect would just smooth sail it, you know, make it so much better for me. And now that I use iOS, I have to forcibly type better because autocorrect does not work in the same way it works in Android. Like, if you write something, it's gonna correct it for you on the spot and not even make you realize that you made a mistake. It's just gonna automatically correct it. That's the whole point, it's autocorrect. But in iOS, if you type something wrong, it's gonna highlight the whole thing in red, but expect you to go back to it and correct it. Like, it's not gonna correct it for you. I don't understand why. I mean, it does make me a better typer now, but I just think life would be easier if autocorrect worked a bit more. And also the comma is on the second layer of the keyboard on iOS, which I was not used to. So I have to go to the special characters part of the keyboard to type a comma. So that's different. And I think the conclusion to this really would be that iOS and Android, they're just both different amazing pieces of software user interfaces, and it's only a matter of style. I mean, to be quite honest, if you ask me if I'm going to take another iOS phone or an Android phone, that depends, because features are constantly being added, and I'm not going to be buying a phone just based on, oh my god, it's an Android phone, that's the only reason I'm gonna like not buy it, or it's an iOS phone, that's the only reason I'm gonna buy it. Like, to me, it's about the phone. So if the phone has a good camera, regardless of whether it's an iOS or an Android, I don't really care. Now that I've experienced both, the whole purpose of the Cold War that is there between people doing this whole like, iOS is so much better, Android is so much better, like they're literally just different user interfaces. Like, there's nothing that dramatic about it. It's a matter of taste, honestly. And I do recommend that if you haven't used iOS or if you haven't used Android, do use both of them and then kind of figure out what works for you, what doesn't. To me, I found it quite easy to adapt to both. Like, I would be happy to have whichever phone in the future. Might stick with Android because I'm used to it for longer. Might continue with iOS because their features just seem to be getting better in terms of camera, and camera is something that's important to me. It's been a month since I've had the iOS, so I thought it would be proper to make this video now for my honest opinion. I hope this video was informative and helpful. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are awesome. Peace.